All right. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jari Salomaa, I'm the Valo CEO. I'm joined here by Valo CTO, Mika Ståhlberg. Good
Hi,
morning.
everybody. Good morning.
Great. Well, it's been a very interesting time in the Salesforce security landscape last couple of days for sure. And I think it will be very interesting for all the platform owners, admins out there to first understand and get a little context of why are we here, what happened, as well as then give some practical advice what to do now with the upcoming connected app security changes. So Mika, could you maybe start by giving a quick timeline of like, how did we end up here? What happened really the end of spring last year, and what this Google Threat Intelligence Mandiant report is all about?
Yeah, so late spring there were multiple of data breaches happening in the retail sector, and the Mandiant report came out, sort of talking about some of those breaches and explaining the technique, also explaining that these are related to Salesforce in a way that the data that was stolen from Salesforce. But the most interesting thing for me, technically speaking, was the fact how the ShinyHunters group, how the actual attack worked using connected apps. That was new. There was a social engineering aspect to it. So it was there have been these consent phishing attacks in the Microsoft ecosystem and the like for a long time, but this was like a new twist on that, and then put that into the Salesforce ecosystem. So this was a real piece of news back then already, but then there have been more companies coming out that we've been breached, and at least some of these have been linked to the data being stolen from Salesforce. So yeah, it's been a busy summer in the world of Salesforce security, and especially in the area of connected apps. And at Valo, we've been actually working in this space the whole time that the company has existed. So for us, this has been kind of at the same time very exciting, because we see the things that we've been thinking that where Valo is really needed, that they are actually materializing. But at the same time, of course, like bad things have happened to good companies. So that's of course bad.
Right, of course, and we want everybody to stay safe and but definitely a golden moment for Valo. We have a technology to actually audit third-party risk in Salesforce, including connected apps and all the inbound and outbound connections that we started working together a year ago, and really made a big talking point in Dreamforce. So in case people are a little bit new or less technical, could we maybe outline? So Mika is of course, behind Valo's product development team, but a renowned cybersecurity expert and Salesforce security expert. So let's start by maybe describing to the audience, what are connected apps? What is a connected app in Salesforce, and especially the data loader now has come up as one of the bad data loaders. So what are they, and what customers really need to think about, regards their integrations with connected apps?
Yeah, a connected app, it's a Salesforce term, but widely used in the Salesforce ecosystem. It basically refers to an inbound OAuth integration. So OAuth is an authorization standard used in all the ecosystems and all the web technologies, and for inbound OAuth integrations, there are connected apps, and there are different types of connected apps, both in like terms of what the app is. So for instance, like Salesforce for iOS, the mobile application, that's a connected app. Salesforce Inspector Reloaded, it's a browser extension, but it's also a connected app. Slack, you can connect Slack with Salesforce. That connection is done with a connected app. LinkedIn, and then things like Workbench, they work. The integration technique there is a connected app. So that's how these integrations work. So it's not necessarily an app as such. It can be a SaaS service, it can be a browser extension, it can be anything. It describes the way how the integration actually happens. These connected apps can be defined in an org. You can create a connected app. You can configure it in a declaratively in a Salesforce org. But those are the connected apps are actually global, which means that you can define a connected app anywhere in any org, and you can use it to log into another org. Of course, a logged in user of that org needs to, and that's the authentication. So when a user who has already authenticated to the Salesforce org needs to authorize that connected app to connect into the org. And that's what happens when you connect like on your mobile phone. When you connect a service, you get this pop-up like, do you allow Google to do this or that? That's an OAuth authorization, and that's needed to grant the connected application access to the Salesforce org. And after you've granted that access to the Salesforce org, the service can use a so-called token that it gets to log into that Salesforce org for as long as that token is valid. And in Salesforce, by default, connected app tokens are valid forever.
Right. So now Salesforce is reacting to these cybersecurity campaigns that have been using the OAuth device flow, a little bit like you can connect a smart TV, Netflix service, HBO, using a, is it 6 or 8 digit code, and connect that with your Salesforce, which is being the kind of the pattern of access. And it's my understanding this method of connecting to Salesforce is now being end of life, so you can't use it anymore. But the generic OAuth flows, of course, continue to exist, but there are some new changes. There's some permission changes, and then a request to review all of these connected apps from Salesforce. So could you, Mika, maybe describe in few words what these Salesforce reactions to this changing third-party risk and connected app framework is all about, and what those changes are?
Yeah, maybe I need to start from these attacks that, like, as I said, like they were technically very interesting, and the reason was that they were using this device flow, which, as you said, is different from the standard flow, because in the standard, like let's say web server flow, you need to type in your username, password, and you need to accept the OAuth scopes. With the device flow, you basically in one device you get an 8-digit or 8-number code, and then you need to type it into your logged in Salesforce browser session. So that whole thing is different. And when I used Data Loader, which is a Salesforce application, which is open sourced, when I used it for the first time, I was kind of surprised to see that it wasn't using the same sort of OAuth flow that you usually see, but it was using this flow. So Data Loader has been using the device flow. When you use Data Loader, which is a desktop application, you connect to your Salesforce org. You will go to the browser and you will type in the 8 numbers into the setup connect web page. So this device flow has some challenges. So one challenge is that since it's very different from the other flows, like how it works, I would say many users are not really ready to understand that something suspicious is going on, because it's very new. You're not typing your username, you're not typing your password, you're not giving your MFA to anybody. You're just typing in 8 numbers that the other side gives you. And then the second thing is that while the other flows require basically a password and a username, So in the OAuth world, these are called consumer key and consumer secret. With the device flow, you don't actually need to know the secret. You only need to know the consumer key. So this is like a for the attacker. This flow is sort of easy to use in a scenario like this. So essentially, how the attack works is that the attacker calls a user of the victim organization and explains that they are from that organization's IT department, and the user needs to authorize a small change to like a ticket, start using a new ticketing system or something like that. And basically that they need to go to this particular page in Salesforce and type in 8 numbers that the user tells them on the phone. This is the gist of how the attack works.
Okay. That's right.
And now what Salesforce is doing is that they are doing away with data loader using this device flow. So data loader, as we know it today, has both the username password flow and then this device flow. The device flow will stop working, and Salesforce will be releasing a new version of the data loader, which will then use the web server flow instead of the device flow. So device flow is basically being phased out completely, but that's not the only thing that Salesforce is now changing. And I think that maybe the more significant change for most Salesforce users and admins out there is the fact that while the default behavior of a Salesforce org is that any user who has API enabled system permission can connect to Salesforce, to the org with any connected application. That's now going to change. So from now on, like an administrator or somebody with a particular new permission can, like they need to first approve the application for use. Salesforce calls this install. So the admin needs to install the application, and after that, the users in the org can use that app, but they cannot use whatever app before the admin has first installed it.
Right. And this approve uninstalled connected apps permission now needs to be assigned to those admins or admin to be able then to allow users to install those apps they have in the orgs, right?
Well, I believe that it's going to be rolled out as part of the system administrator profile. So all system admins will automatically gain that particular permission.
So it should be turned on by default, we think.
For every admin, but then the listeners need to be careful on if they give out that permission to other profiles or other permission sets, because like it's a fairly powerful thing, even though earlier it is something that every Salesforce user has been able to do, but that now it should be limited to the admins. But of course, like also I would urge to make sure that you have as few admins as possible. Of course, you want to have more than one admin so that you don't end up in a situation where that admin is no longer available. But anyhow, you should not give this permission to just about everybody, because then we're back in the situation that has been before.
Right. And if we read through some of the documents, there's also the use any API client permission that does the same work, allowing organizations, I think, or individuals to also see the both approved and unproved apps within the org.
Well, that permission is an older permission. I would never use that permission for anybody. Basically, I don't see any need for that permission. But it's essentially a permission that's turns off these changes, but it also turns off another feature which is called API access control, which is a like more advanced version of the thing that Salesforce is now rolling out. Something that you can contact Salesforce support and have them enable it for your org. It is more advanced from a security perspective, but it's also a lot more work than what is now rolling out.
What type of work is the turning on API access control for Salesforce org? What are the consequences to admins when that's turned on?
So in both of these cases, like it's quite important, and I would urge everybody to do it right now, is to understand and review all those connected apps that they have in use, like who's using them, what are they used for, where are those applications logging in from, are those applications really needed, are those applications trustworthy, these kind of things. You need to know this. And now, in case of this change that Salesforce is now rolling out, you then need to install the applications that you want to still continue using, and then you need to block the applications that you don't want to continue using. So it's like the review of those connected applications, because you might have hundreds of them. It is quite a lot of work to understand whether or not they are still needed and what they're needed for. Our solution will make that a lot easier.
Precisely what we built it for, yes.
Yes, but when it comes to API access control, in addition to deciding which applications can be used, the idea is that you also decide who can use which application. So you will assign those applications to a permission set or profile, and then you will assign that permission set to users, and both implementing this is a chore, but also maintaining it, because whenever there is, like, somebody needs a new application or something, there will be a support case that you will need to work on to grant them access to that application that they need.
Right. Let's wrap up with some of the Valo kind of like benefits that you described. So I guess the call to action for everybody in the Salesforce ecosystem is to review and analyze their connected apps. Something Valo can do lightning fast. Within hours, you have a full catalog. You can search it. You have those benefits you talked about. Who created it? Who is using it? Where is it connecting to and from? And what's the security score? What is Valo saying about this app? What's the privacy policy, the terms of service, where the data is going, what they're doing with it, and then the permissions. So what kind of permissions within the individual users inside Salesforce should have? And that's also another feature within Valo to provide automatic risk scoring around permissions and really easy to search user interface to make the permission changes faster and easier. Is there anything else? I know this change also impacts partners. Is there any other things we missed and we should highlight? I know partners need to realize that then installing apps is going to change the behaviors, and there may be some packaging exercises, and especially if you are a data loader or using those kinds of device flows, that's going to stop working. So hopefully partners realize that. But any departing words for the audience, and maybe some resources, that if they want to read out more or learn more, what can admins and architects do to get more information about this?
I would highlight the fact that even though, of course, in security, we always would like to prevent every type of a compromise or breach or something from happening. Like perfect prevention doesn't really exist, especially if you want to allow your real users to use the system. So bad things can always happen. So in addition to trying to prevent everything as well as you can, you should also lock down the accesses in a way that you should always think about like these like each of my users. What if that user gets compromised? What if that user gets compromised? So that the permissions, there is this like minimum permissions in a way that what do they actually need? Give them that, but don't give them more, because like then if a compromise happens, it's so much worse than that. Especially if in a Salesforce org, if the admin account gets compromised, bad things can happen, because then it's no longer just about losing the data, but it can also, the attacker can do bad things in the org that means that you might actually lose data. If you need resources, we have been writing multiple blog posts about these things over the course of this year. There are multiple of them on our website, talking about connected apps, evil twins, permissions, all of that. Go and read those. I think that they are going to be very helpful.
Fantastic, Mika. And of course, we do offer a free 30-day trial. Anyone that now needs assistance going through their connected apps, go to App Exchange, look for our number one security solution in App Exchange, Valo, V-A-L-O, and take it for a spin, take it for a trial. And we're really looking forward for your feedback, how we can together go over these security growth pains and really prepare your orgs for the AI Agentforce AI revolution that's about to happen. And thank you, Mika. This was hopefully great for everyone. We'll post our LinkedIn information in the video as well, so feel free to reach out to Mika for any follow-up questions and or myself. But thank you again, Mika, and hope everybody has a great day. Stay safe out there, and see you soon in the next show.
Yeah, thank you.